What it do? Welcome back to the View Askew review series. We're doing all the Kevin Smith View Askew-niverse movies, going all the way from the OG Clerks, leading to his latest and hopefully greatest, right? But his latest installment in that universe, Clerks 3, dropping in mid-September and going to be going on select dates and a tour all around the world, or all around the states. Let me correct myself there. All around the states through the fall of 2022. So we're going to be getting that Clerks 3 all through the rest of the year, starting over here in Southern Cali in mid-September. So expect that review around that time, and we should have a ranking for all of these View Askew flicks around that time as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that, y'all. But with no further ado, let's get into this thing. And Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the long-anticipated follow-up to Dogma from 1999. The big controversial one there. And this dropped, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that is, dropped in August 24th, 2001. So the summer of '01. So I obviously, if y'all know my age by now, I would have been about 6 going on 7 years old, or 7 going on 8 years old. So I would not have... 6 going on 7 years old. So I would not have been old enough to even see this thing or know about it at the time. I saw this in my in the summer between freshman and sophomore year of high school. So that's when I became a fan of this particular film right here, after seeing Clerks 2 in my middle school days. Once again, way before you should be watching a movie that age, depending on what you think, but way before I could have legally anyway. And yeah, so I was a fan of the Kevin Smith films ever since. And as I mentioned before, this is a review series for all these Kevin Smith films. So we got all our reviews for the previous 4 installments. That's Clerks, Dogma, Chasing Amy, Mallrats, all those. We already got those up here on the channel. So make sure you click that card up above and check out one of those reviews. And we're going to have some of those featured at the end of this episode as well. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that one. But getting all into this one, man, it's a really fun installment of this one. This might be the wackiest, kind of the goofiest of the bunch, if you will. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because Jay and Silent Bob definitely fits that overall. And this was such a blast, man. And when the whole premise and setup of this one is Jay and Silent Bob are just living their life, doing the thing that they always do, shooting the shit, hanging out in front of the Quick Stop, with nothing else better to do than sell dope, sing random songs that all the younger kids don't know.
$15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me, oh. My jungle love, yeah. Oh, we, I think I wanna know ya, yeah, what?
The hell are you singing?
You know what I'm saying? Typical Jay and Silent Bob stuff. You get to see how they met and everything in a certain kind of funny way. You get kind of their origin story, if you will. And the whole real adventure kicks off when they end up finding out that oh my gosh, what is wrong with me right now? They find out from Jason Lee's character in Mallrats. I'm having a brain fart. Oh my gosh, Brody. Oh my gosh, man. Brody Bruce, of course, from Mallrats. He drops the news on these guys that there is a film getting made about about comic book characters, Bluntman and Chronic, that Holdy McNeil and Banksy from Chasing Amy, aka Ben Affleck and Jason Lee's other View Askew characters, created back in that film in Chasing Amy in '97. They're creating a film adaptation back in the early days of the comic book movie boom, before it really was a boom. And they were making a film based off the characters of their likeness. So obviously they're owed some royalties and some fat checks. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even know this thing was going down. And Banksy's about to get bank off this thing because he has the full rights to it after Holden completely sold off his share of the rights back after their fallout, after the whole crazy sex thing and Chasing Amy. And for those of you that don't know, check out that review and you'll get more information on that whole ordeal. So Banksy has all the rights. Jason Lee's other character, his character Brody from Mallrats, lets Jay and Silent Bob know what's going on. So they go over to Holden to find out what the fuck is actually going down. And that brings in a whole nother fun cameo right there, as Ben Affleck playing this particular character back from Chasing Amy days. And he ends up giving them the lowdown on the internet and all the big and all the early fandom going on with people talking shit.
For example, we got a guy here with the Chick Magnet Net Handle Wampa 1 opining on what he thinks about Bluntman and Chronic. He says, Bluntman and Chronic and their stupid alter egos, Jay and Silent Bob, only work in small doses, if at all. They don't deserve their own movie. He's got a point.
Fuck him. What's the next one
On
say?
film adaptations and comic book movies and movies in general and things that they know, how fans do, and people talking mad shit on Jay and Silent Bob, and that really pisses Jay off. First and foremost, Silent Bob definitely doesn't like it either, but Jay's pissed, and they're like, yo, who the fuck's talking all this shit about us online? And Holden is trying to tell them, guys, these are fictional characters. Relax. You don't need to worry about it, okay? They're not talking shit about you. They're talking shit about the characters that are based off of you. You're not even in the movie, guys. Relax. But Jay doesn't clearly get the point, and he doesn't have that disconnect like all of us in the modern age doing things like this that also have social media pages and whatnot. You know, to have that disconnect, to know they're not necessarily talking shit on you, especially if it's a character, or you're an actor or something like that. You know they're not talking shit about you personally, but Jay is not smart enough to realize that, so that sets off a whole thing where they want to stop the movie from being made so people won't be able to talk shit about them online, inevitably, when the film comes out, as they know people will do on the internet, and people do to these days prematurely before the film even comes out. So if they made this 20 years later in 2021, Jay's whole plan would have went to shit, because fans don't give a shit if they've seen it or not. We're going to review bomb it and talk shit way before anything's even been seen. Y'all know the deal on that one. Toxic fandom. It's quite the thing these days. But I love how this film really goes into the very, 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 very early days of toxic fandom with the internet in general, and the way that that connects everyone, and people are able to hear all these meaningless opinions, you know what I'm saying? And people were able to have a voice for the first time, and people that other people aren't necessarily going for these type of insights into film and whatever. And that birthed the whole thing, and why I'm even doing this right now, and why you're even watching this. So it's so cool how this movie was so ahead of its time with the things that it was kind of introducing and getting into so early on, and really kept it fresh and interesting and fun to watch even today in 2022, watching this 21 years later after it's been initially released. So that's obviously really fun right there. So that's the whole series of events that gets us into this whole wacky adventure with our boys, Jay and Silent Bob. And don't forget about the chimpanzee, okay? Don't you forget about that. But yeah, man, and this whole entire film, man, is so fucking stacked. This cast is crazy. So many cameos, but just getting into the main supporting cast and the main cast here. Obviously, like I said, Ben Affleck and Jason Lee are playing two of their characters from the View Askew universe. Obviously, Jason Lee is playing Brody Bruce, and Banksy, whatever the hell his last name is, from both Chasing Amy and Mallrats. He's playing both of those characters in this movie in both the first and third acts. You know what I'm saying? And you got Ben Affleck playing two characters as well. But one character he's playing is actually himself, Ben Affleck, later on in a whole funny meta reference to him and Matt Damon's big time Oscar darling Good Will Hunting, where they're making a sequel, and they got this whole funny thing with Matt Damon playing a cameo in there real quick, and I love all that stuff right there. I love the meta nature of this film. Once again, making this very much ahead of its time, making this really stand apart and really age well as things go on, and as comedy and as the whole meta nature of fandom and of pop culture has evolved with Deadpool, She-Hulk, Harley Quinn, you name it, how the thing goes on, etc., starting from Ferris Bueller and all that other shit. So it's really cool to see the early days of that, and how Kevin Smith really had his finger on the pulse and was so ahead of his time in certain small aspects that even he might not even realize until now. You know what I'm saying? So I really love all of that coming through here. And like I said, when it comes to this cast, it just keeps going, man. You got Shannon Elizabeth here playing Boo Boo Kitty Fuck, a.k.a. Justice. You got Ali Larder, Elijah Dushku, what up to the Buffy peeps right there, you know what I'm saying? Will Ferrell's up in here way before we even knew Will Ferrell as a huge name in his early days of the SNL and all that good jazz. And yeah, man, it's a lot of fun there. He plays this wildlife preserve guy that don't know shit and is dumb as hell. I have so many fun things with his bits and the whole thing of where he believes the monkey's a kid and all this dumb shit, and he believes that Clit is a real terrorist organization, man. Oh man, there's some dangerous people, bro. I tell you, man. And like I said, these cameos are just fucking insane, man. Chris Rock, Mark Hamill, Jamie Kennedy, Carrie Fisher, man, Sean William Scott, Wes Craven, the fucking one of the masters of horror himself, man. In a whole ultra meta sequence with like a Scream sequel getting filmed with Shannon Doherty.
Let's see who you really are.
From multiple Kevin Smith films and Charmed as well, so you get all this pop culture flavor jumping up in here. You got the late great comedian George Carlin popping up in here. You got Jason Biggs from American Pie, James Van Der Beek over there from One Tree Hill or one of those shows I'd ever watched back in the day. You got Dwight Ewell coming back as Hooper X at the end of the film when they actually premiere Jay and Silent Bob or whatever. You got Renee Humphrey coming back as Trisha Jones, which is funny. You got Tracy Morgan up in here real quick. Is playing a local stoner in L.A. You know what I'm saying? Gus Van Sant even pops up in the Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Good Will Hunting 2 sequence. You know what I'm saying? Over there counting his money. And then you got Morris Day in the Time, of course, at the end with the ending. What do you call them? The closing credits, whatever the hell you call it. Doing a great musical number, man. I wanna get to know you, man. They were getting down. You already know it, man. And then you got Jason Stewart as well coming up in here doing a quick segment in the broadcast. Like I said, this thing is stacked with meta cameos, and there's even other cameos I didn't mention, man. Those are just the ones I wrote down on my notes. So many damn cameos, and I have so much fun with that overall. It's such a blast, and I love the humor and the comedy of this movie. It's just so wacky and all over the place, man, and I just love how this movie doesn't take itself too seriously. It does have a somewhat kind of serious, heartfelt story at the center of it between the love story of Jason Mewes' Jay with Shannon Elizabeth's Justice and all that, and how everything comes together there, and their genuine kind of connection, and how she kind of knows he's stupid but still kind of falls for him anyway, and all that stuff, and takes the fall and ends up confessing to everything her and her homegirls did and how they set him up and all that stuff. And I just love that the whole dynamic that them two have together. Like I said, this is back in the early days of Shannon Elizabeth's career, and she was just so on point back in these early 2000s days, and really showed her promise back then. And she still pops into some stuff here and there. You might even see her again in the View Askew review series. You know what I mean? The scary movie series. The list goes on. You know, we even got American Pie crossover up in here. You know, low key with Jason Biggs popping up there, like I mentioned earlier, later on in the film, but they're not on screen together. But you know what I'm saying? You get 3 cast members of American Pie up in this thing. So, like I said, the early 2000s era, man, such a hell of a time to be alive and watching films. And, you know, that's my era right there. That's when I was growing up as a kid, getting into films, watching movies for the first time, seeing all these actors. So, going back and seeing it now with how much time has passed and seeing all these great actors that I grew up watching and still watch to this very day. And I'm still a big fan of pretty much all these people for the most part. And it's just great to see kind of where everyone's career has gone since then, and just how fun and how meta and how much of a celebration of pop culture and the View Askew universe all at the same time. So I really just love that, man. And like I said, or one thing I definitely wanted to mention here, Jason Mewes was on fucking fire with the comedy in this movie. He is by far the funniest thing in here, man, when it comes to the clit thing and the Scooby-Doo sequence and this motherfucker said he'd fuck a sheep and all this other stuff, man. Like, there's so many funny jokes and one-liners and so many funny things with Jay in this movie. So hats off to Jason Mewes. That guy is just comedic gold and was just elevating the hell out of the stuff in this movie, man. He is the funniest thing about this movie, hands fucking down. So, yeah, man, I enjoy the hell out of this thing. What else could I really say about it? I love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But what says you? What says y'all out there? in the comments section below out there in the internet world. For all my fellow Kevin Smith fans, let me know where this ranks in the overall View Askew-niverse. And for those of you that are seeing it for the first time or maybe haven't seen it, let me know why you haven't checked it out. And if you just checked it out for the first time after watching this review or just before watching this review, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments, guys. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and make sure you do that hashtag more cowbell. All that helps the show, and make sure you don't miss a single dose of the Fandom Frequency dopeness in your feed. So make sure you keep doing that, guys. And like we said, the View Askew review series is coming near to its end. We got 2 more installments to come right before the 3rd and final installment here of Clerks 3. We got Clerks 2 coming right around the corner. It should be within a week of you seeing this video right here, if not sooner. And we're going to have Jay and Silent Bob Reboot coming right before we got our Clerks 3 review hitting y'all between now and mid-September. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for all that. So much love to each and every one of you guys and gals and everyone in between for checking this out. And until next time, guys, make sure you stay safe out there. And you also stay tuned, don't sleep, and much love. Catch you on the flip side, y'all. Snoochie boochies.